Liam was his name. The memory of that evening lingers, the moment Ethan first brought him up during our dinner conversation. "He's a clever boy," my husband remarked, sliding his plate away. "Yet troubled. Perpetually embroiled in conflicts. Perpetually teetering on the brink of relinquishing everything." At that moment it barely registered in my mind. A fellow student. A fresh tale from Ethan's classroom. It was only after our paths crossed for the first time that everything changed. The sun hung low in the sky as Ethan extended an invitation for a conversation about his grades. As I swung the door wide, there he stood. He stood tall yet taut, as if burdened by an unseen weight within. For a fleeting moment our gazes intertwined. They were shadowy, hushed, yet brimming with an essence untamed. "Madam Carter?" he inquired gently, his tone subdued, nearly tentative. I inclined my head in agreement. Moved aside. He entered silently, his hands buried deep in his pockets. As Ethan engaged him in conversation within the study, I remained in the kitchen. Yet, I found myself unable to resist the urge to steal a glance down the hallway. His presence was palpable. As he departed, he lingered at the threshold, casting a brief glance in my direction before offering a subtle nod. Respectful. Reticent. Yet that fleeting look lingered in my mind. It held an essence that eluded my grasp. A presence that remained, echoing in the silence. I found myself in a state of confusion, unaware of the reasons behind it all. Not at this moment. Following their initial encounter, Liam started visiting the house with increasing regularity. Initially, it was always with Ethan. In the study, they would linger for hours, poring over assignments, contemplating his future, and the right path that Ethan still believed he could pursue. Yet gradually the visits grew in frequency. At times Ethan found himself occupied. At times he had yet to return home. Liam sat at the kitchen table, anticipation hanging in the air. That was the moment our conversation began. Initially it was merely the little details. I would inquire about his well-being. He would merely shrug, offering me terse replies, his tone steady yet cautious. Yet with every passing moment, he lingered just a bit more. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Ethan found himself ensnared in a lengthy faculty meeting, leaving Liam and me in each other's company for nearly an hour. He positioned himself opposite me at the table. For the very first time he truly revealed himself. He shared with me the story of his parents. Their words were few and far between. He experienced a profound sense of not fitting in anywhere. I paid attention, truly attentive. And when he gazed upon me, a certain depth lingered in his eyes. Not the rebellion Ethan had painted, but a subtle solitude that resonated with an unsettling familiarity. It resonated deeply within me, for I was familiar with that sensation. The sensation of existing in the shadows, of voices fading into silence. As Ethan finally stepped through the door, Liam rose to his feet, murmured a quiet thank you for the tea I had prepared, and offered me the slightest hint of a smile before he departed. It was hardly perceptible, yet it lingered in my mind. For reasons I couldn't quite grasp, anticipation welled up within me for the next encounter. It began with extended silences, extended stays. Liam would arrive for his tutoring sessions, yet rather than waiting in silence, he'd choose to linger in the kitchen with me. Initially it was laid back. We would engage in conversations about music, literature, small details. Yet the dialogues grew more profound. He confided in me that he felt as though he was merely drifting through life. "Everyone believes I'm a failure," he murmured softly one evening. Yet few truly inquire as to the reasons behind it. As I gazed at him, an ephemeral lapse in my awareness made me overlook his youth. In his gaze I recognized a certain familiarity, the identical solitude, the familiar, silent pain I bore in my own union. I revealed more than I ought to have. I shared with him the sensation of emptiness that lingered in the house, even in Ethan's presence. There were moments when I sensed a profound invisibility in my own existence. He remained silent. He made no effort to mend it. He simply absorbed the words, truly attentive, and the manner in which he gazed at me, constant, unwavering. It constricted my chest. As Ethan made his way down the stairs, Liam rose, retreating into that reserved, courteous persona he often donned. Yet, as he departed, he cast one final look in my direction, and that fleeting look, it hung in the air, excessive in length, excessively aware. As the door clicked shut behind him, a weight settled back into the house. Yet not in an identical manner. Because now I found myself enveloped in a deeper solitude. I found myself in a state of anticipation. The late afternoon sun cast a warm glow as Ethan occupied the upstairs, engaged in a call. Liam had recently completed his session. Once more, he found himself in the kitchen with me, casually leaning against the counter as I busied myself packing away the dishes. Our conversation drifted through the realm of trivialities, merely fleeting, insignificant phrases. Yet, the manner in which he gazed at me, a sensation coursed through me, the subtle yet powerful energy, the sort that caused my hands to quiver ever so slightly as I placed a plate down. And then it occurred. As I extended my hand toward the jar perched precariously on the top shelf, it eluded my grasp and tumbled away. Just before it could touch the ground, he snatched it up. Our hands met with a sudden force. His warmth, a steady presence against mine. Yet he held on tightly. Not immediately. He lingered near, his fingertips grazing softly against mine as he returned the jar. It was merely a whisper of contact. Yet it remained. Excessively lengthy. I gazed up at him and for the first time, there was no doubt about what I perceived in his eyes. Desire. Lacking the spark of youthful curiosity. Not mere admiration. Genuine, unfiltered desire. My breath hitched and for an instant I remained still. He didn't either. The stillness that enveloped us was palpable, dense, until a soft call from upstairs broke the silence, carrying Ethan's voice. Liam took a step back, his demeanor shifting, retreating into the gentle, courteous side of his nature. "Until we meet again," he remarked with a serene demeanor. And then he departed. Yet, even after the door had shut, the lingering sensation of his touch remained on my hand, and I loathed the intensity of my longing to experience it once more. The clock had long struck midnight when the sound reached my ears. A gentle rap echoed against the front door. Initially, I believed it was merely a figment of my imagination. Silence enveloped the house. Ethan lay in a deep slumber upstairs. Yet it returned once more. "Raise your voice just a touch." I slipped into a sweater and approached the door, my heart racing in an unusual rhythm. And there he stood. Liam, bathed in the soft glow of the porch light. His hair clung to his forehead, dampened by the cool night air, while his eyes remained shadowy and inscrutable. I found myself at a loss for where to turn," he murmured softly. I stood still, caught in a moment of disbelief. "Is all well?" I murmured. He gave a slight shake of his head. "Not quite. I simply had to lay my eyes on you." The manner in which he expressed it, gentle yet weighty, sent a tremor coursing through me. I ought to have urged him to go. The door should have been closed by me. Yet I refrained. I moved to the side. He entered silently, his shoulders rigid, his breath irregular, as if he had been suppressing something for far too long. We gathered in the living room. Initially, he remained silent. I brewed tea merely to occupy the stillness. As I passed him the cup, our fingers lightly grazed against each other. And this time he remained close. I didn't either. He placed the cup down with deliberate slowness, his eyes fixed intently on mine. "You occupy my thoughts endlessly," he murmured. My breath hitched. "Liam, this isn't the place for you," I managed to say. Yet my voice lacked the conviction I intended. He advanced with measured intent. Gradually, with great care. It felt as though he was offering me every opportunity to put an end to his actions. Yet I refrained. As he leaned in and pressed his lips against mine, the kiss was gentle, somewhat reluctant. Yet as I returned the kiss it intensified. Deliberate, assured, brimming with all that we had kept inside. In that instant I understood. Everything would change from this moment onward. Following that kiss, time seemed to stand still. A delicate, suspended moment where I might have halted it all. I might have chosen to distance myself. I might have suggested he take his leave. Yet I chose not to. I allowed it to unfold. He kissed me once more intensely this time. his hands gliding to my face as if he feared I might vanish, and I dissolved into him. In the embrace of warmth, in the depths of desire, his touch awakened a sense of being truly seen, a feeling I had long forgotten. It unfolded at a measured pace. It unfolded with a measured pace, each moment carefully considered. We relocated to the guest room, the space that remained untouched by time. In the stillness of the house enveloped by shadows, I allowed him to caress me as if I were a delicate treasure. He explored every contour of my being with a reverence I had long since forgotten. And when it ultimately occurred, when I surrendered entirely, felt entirely right, seemed destined to happen, in the end he remained. He departed at a measured pace, unburdened by any sense of shame. He regarded it as more than a fleeting instant. He embraced me. His fingers glided through my hair, his breath a gentle whisper against my shoulder. "This has been my desire for ages," he murmured. "You cannot fathom the effect you have on me." I shut my eyes, overwhelmed by a tide of guilt that I couldn't shake off. Yet there was an undercurrent of something more. Desire. As he departed in the quiet embrace of dawn, the house was once more enveloped in a profound sense of emptiness. Yet it was a different sort of emptiness. This was more dire, for I was already aware it would not occur merely a single time. In the wake of that night, everything shifted irrevocably. Liam no longer sought a reason to act. He didn't feign that it revolved around tutoring sessions or Ethan's lessons. He simply arrived, and I always welcomed him inside. Initially, the night remained tranquil. Gentle taps echoed against the door while Ethan immersed himself in the world of grading papers or toiling away into the night. Instances captured in silence, shrouded in shadow. Yet before long it evolved into something greater. Quiet afternoons when the house stood still. On those mornings when Ethan ventured out for a run. Whenever an opportunity arose, we seized it. Transcended the physical realm. We would spend countless hours in conversation, entwined in each other's presence in the guest room. He confided in me secrets that remained hidden from everyone else, his constant anger, his profound sense of being adrift, and the painful truth that no one had ever truly taken the time to listen. And I revealed to him truths I hadn't yet acknowledged within myself. How unseen I felt in my own marriage, how muted my existence had turned, how I had begun to lose sight of my own identity. One afternoon, when it had all come to an end, he gently ran his fingers along my arm and murmured, "You are the sole individual who truly perceives my essence." I felt compelled to express that he was mistaken. This was but a fleeting moment, that it was destined to end. Yet I refrained, for beneath the surface I was aware that he perceived me as well. The facets of my being that Ethan had ceased to recognize long ago. The elements I believed would fade into obscurity, forgotten by all. As he departed that day, he offered no words about his return. Yet he was not obliged to. We were both aware all along. It unfolded in an instant. Ethan returned home ahead of schedule. Liam and I found ourselves in the kitchen, uncomfortably near. His hands rested on my hips, his lips softly grazing my neck. We found ourselves adrift in that serene, wild instant, until the abrupt sound of a car door slamming outside caused us both to freeze in place. I turned my gaze to the window, and a wave of unease washed over me. The vehicle belonging to Ethan. "Proceed." "Now," I murmured, my voice quivering. Liam snatched his jacket and glided quietly through the back door, vanishing into the yard just as Ethan entered from the front. My heart raced with such intensity that I feared he might catch its echo. Ethan entered the kitchen, a weary smile gracing his lips. "Hey," he remarked with a nonchalant air. "Why are you still awake? I assumed you would be immersed in a book." I managed to smile, turning my back to the counter to hide the warmth creeping into my cheeks. "I'm just tidying up a bit," I murmured gently. He pressed his lips to my cheek in a distracted manner, launching into a recount of his day, blissfully oblivious to the reality that mere moments before, Liam had been embracing me in that very same place. As Ethan ascended the stairs for his shower, I quietly made my way to the back door and peered outside. Liam had vanished. Yet the recollection of his caress lingered, igniting a fire upon my skin. What's even more disheartening, it failed to instill enough fear to deter me. It intensified my desire for him. Now the risk had transformed from mere contemplation into a palpable reality. Truly existed. It was a sensation that crackled with energy. As the night wore on, a message from Liam arrived. I cannot resist the pull. Let me know when we can meet again. I acted without a moment's pause. I informed him it would be tomorrow. Liam paid another visit today. Yet it was unlike anything else. He hesitated before extending his hand toward me. He held back, not kissing me as the door clicked shut behind us. Instead, he simply remained in place, his calm, steady gaze fixed on me. But this time there was an underlying intensity to it. Melancholy. We lingered on the couch in quietude for a moment before he broke the stillness with his words. I can't continue down this path, he murmured gently. My heart plummeted. What are you up to? I inquired, despite being fully aware. He swept his fingers through his hair, his voice resonating with a quiet strength. Creeping about as if I'm a blunder you wish to hide. Exiting through the rear entrance as if none of this holds any significance. I parted my lips, yet he continued unabated. It holds significance for me. Exceeding my expectations. Exceeding what I ought to permit. I fixed my gaze on him, a constriction forming in my throat. Liam. He drew nearer, his gaze fixed unwaveringly on me. Please assure me that this is merely a matter of solitude. Say that I'm merely a diversion, and I'll turn and leave at this very moment. Yet, if it transcends that, I must understand. Words failed me. It had transcended mere loneliness. It was indeed him. How he reignited the spark within me. He perceived me in a manner that no one else could. I remained quiet. In the stillness, the answer revealed itself to him. He extended his hand toward mine, cradling it softly, his thumb gliding tenderly across my fingers. I refuse to be merely your hidden truth, he murmured. I desire you. I refrained from saying no to him. For beneath the surface, I yearned for him as well. Not merely the instances. It's more than mere contact. That individual. It no longer felt like a secret liaison. That night was different. Not when Liam arrived after Ethan departed for a weekend conference. Excuses were simply not an option. There will be no tutoring session. No documents to submit. He arrived for me. As I swung the door open, he stepped forward without a moment's pause. He enveloped me in his embrace, our lips connecting in a kiss that carried an unfamiliar intensity this time. Neither hurried nor taken away. Yet profound. Indeed, we traversed the house quietly. For the first time, it felt as though I was no longer in the shadows of something elusive. It seemed as though I was making the choice myself, opting for him. In the bedroom, his touch was reverent, as if I were a treasure he yearned to possess endlessly. Each kiss, each breath seemed to fill a void within me that had lingered for years. And I allowed him to do so. I surrendered every part of myself to him. In the gentle illumination of the lamp, we reclined side by side, enveloped by the serene murmur of the house surrounding us. His fingers glided softly over my cheek as he leaned in to whisper, I can no longer envision my existence devoid of you. With my eyes shut tight, I surrendered to the darkness. In that instant, I realized it was beyond redemption. It is no longer possible to return. It's far too late to feign it was merely an error. It's far too late to feign that it was merely a matter of solitude. For the simple reason that it was not. It revolved around him. As I lay there in his embrace, a truth surfaced within me, one I was reluctant to acknowledge even in my own heart. I was engaging in something more than mere infidelity. I found myself plummeting. And nothing, not even the weight of guilt, could draw me back. As he finally departed, I lingered by the window, observing him fade into the stillness of the night. And I understood. Everything had irrevocably changed.